Hello, and welcome to our show, Midwest Weekly, starring myself, Hair Wiz, and my co-host, Clt. Today, we're going to give you a breakdown of the loser bracket finals between Coinflip and Instinct that took place about a week and a half ago now, so it's been some time. Of course, we got to get through Thanksgiving, so hopefully everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And now we're here. It is Sunday, the 30th. Tomorrow is the 1st, and Christmas is around the corner. CLT, did you have a nice turkey day?
Yeah, yeah, got to stuff some food and got a little work in, so a little holiday pay never hurt anybody.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I was off myself, but I had my Thanksgiving on Wednesday. It was a long day to say the least because I worked that day. But I am happy to say it is over. I am also happy to say, to be honest with all of you guys, that the year is coming to an end, so we can all get a nice break here soon. Before we jump into these games, real quick, just gonna put this out there. Um, we're talking about doing All Stars this week, either Friday or Saturday. So hopefully you guys are around to watch it. I know it's after the league is ended because of course the grand finals will be Monday the first tomorrow. But you know things don't always go according to plan. Just thankful to be able to attempt to do it as usual. Other than that, there's nothing else really going on. We are at the end of the split. We are at the end of the year. We're at the end of 2025. I cannot believe we're halfway, in fact, over halfway done with the 2020s already. It feels like the 2020s just started. So it's pretty crazy. But you got anything, CLT, before we get started on these games?
No, it's been a long, hectic year, both in and out of the game for me. So I'm ready to get this moving.
Yes. So let's get it moving. Let's get it underway, and let's talk about this five-game series, which I think we all anticipated would be more closer to a full 5 game series than an actual sweep. But we ended up getting a sweep, and I feel like CoinFlip been pretty consistent about this. I think they won two of their series with sweeps. They only had one 5 game series, I believe, the entire playoffs, and then they lose in a sweep. So they were pretty consistent. They were pretty much three and done every time. They're just like, let's get out of here. And Instinct, they came in here, took care of business, which I think Instinct now is undefeated all time against CoinFlip in series. Still, I'm not for sure on this. I'm sure some CoinFlip guys that are gonna watch this can correct me, or Instinct guys, but I'm pretty sure they are. So
I believe you're correct.
yeah, they beat them twice in playoffs now, and I think they beat them once or twice in the regular season. So, but yeah, here we are. So we've got a bit of a rivalry getting going, a friendly one. I know these two teams get along well, but let's see. Game one, I think game one was pretty standard. Nothing really stuck out, with the exception of the orange jungle. Um, we'll kind of get that out of the conversation. We'll talk about it first here. Uh, Orange Jungle got buffed. They made changes. There's like tons of jungle changes about a week ago now. I mean, I think we even just got another patch, or we're on the way to another patch, but it was the previous patch that dropped the new champion, Zaheen. And he, it was just a change to his W. Helped, I don't know the exact numbers on it, but it was enough to do a lot of extra damage to monsters. And trust me, from playing with it a little bit, it's actually pretty strong as far as a clear. Like, I think you could probably make it a sub 315 clear optimized. I was still practicing it. I haven't played in the last week. Been busy, obviously Thanksgiving, so I couldn't tell you what the true possible abilities of it are. But I think it's really strong there. Ganking, not that bad either. As far as runes, this is where I disagree with Brandino's setup here, and items actually. I disagree with a full supportive build, just off the bat. I do think that it's not the easiest game for him to play into. I should think Wukong would be pretty strong into Ornn. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't feel the items. I think Redemption, Locket. I mean, first off, Redemption got nerfed a while back, so as a first item rush, it's not even been good for supports. Um, and then on top of that, you're also double locketing because your Nautilus is building Locket. So I just don't think you need either item. I think you just go typical Ornn build. Maybe get a little crazy with it if you want, but generally tank stats, right? And you know, stacking health would have been fine. In this game, HP isn't a big thing that you need, but I didn't like that. And then I know he went Unsealed Spellbook. I didn't like that either. I know you like it, but I don't like it. Because I know you mentioned in CLT saying that that's what you do, but I think it's just, I'm not a fan.
Um, yeah, It's not that I'm not a fan of the Orange Jungle or the spellbook itself. I just think what surrounds this Orange Jungle isn't that proactive. Like, I actually thought there was a world where this Orin was gonna go mid just because he can safely farm in the Talia, and if you ever get like set up on, you can just W the Talia push. Like, it's pretty easy to predict and see the graphics, so it kind of becomes a kind of plays a little bit of a Galio function there, although doesn't have the opportunity to match Rome. But um, yeah, I mean, I see um the theory behind it. Like, Jax is it from what I have heard is a very winning lane into Volibear, and Morgana can match push for push into the Talia, so they both can kind of protect the Ornn a little bit, but it's just with Ornn, Jax, Morgana, they need a few minutes and a few items to get going, and there's just not there's just not much if they get behind that to like help them get back in the game, especially the Jax.
Yeah, I won't disagree as far as the champions around the Orange. I don't have a problem with the Orange Jungle though. The Orange Jungle is not particularly my problem. It's just the itemization and whatnot. Even more than the spellbook. Spellbook I can live with. I just don't like the itemization. Um, I get that Brandino is playing for the team, but it's gonna sound strange what I'm about to say, but I actually think they lack damage. So I think Tank Orn does more damage than going this build. Like it's Kaisa basically against the world. Like Jax is decent DPS. Morgana's like okay, but like man, I think a little extra damage would have made all the difference here. Um, but yeah, the proactiveness is not the best. I think the CC setup is nice with the Nautilus, Morg, and Orn. But then at that point, I feel like if you're gonna go this kind of like front to backy front line engage, why not just go a different 80 carry too? Like you can make an argument for something like a I don't know, maybe a Sivir. If not, maybe what's the other champion that I can't think of right
Silver's
now?
not bad here.
Yeah, I can't. The new champion that I can't think of right now. The new 80 carry. She was played in this series too.
Yanar.
Yeah, I think Yunara. Maybe Yunara or something. Um, but one of those I think would have been fine. Kai'Sa's not horrible here either. I'm not completely hating on that pick. It's just like some way to make the comp more structured and give it a little more DPS. But certainly the build for the Ornn would help in that department. Aside from that, though, kind of jumping into really what happened in this game, I mean, this was just kind of good boy picking up uh, where he left off the last time he played this Talia champion. Man, he's just unbelievable. I want to say he had like another quadra kill or something in this game, like not a penta, but like maybe a quad or a triple or something. So he went off. They didn't really have a lot to deal with her. Like she pretty much went unpunished in the lane where I think she should have been. Like into the Morgana pick early on. Like she shouldn't be able to be. The Talia should to me be able to bully the Morg. Um, and yet the Talia was able to do so at times where it shouldn't have happened and never got punished, really. So then out of lane phase, the Talia just got strong and popped off. But I will say, and I'm watching the clip again, and I forgot about it, but Aristotle's prediction with a Q at like 8 minutes onto the monkey was insane. Over the wall. It was really nice. So, I just want to point that out. But the Morg was strange to me overall. I think people have been talking about it. I don't know if Rika mentioned it. Somebody said something about this. Stop picking Morgana in the chat at some point. I don't know if it was that series or series before. But I haven't really liked Morgana pick almost all of the split. I liked it in like the few spots early on when it got picked up by a couple people. Almost like it threw people off. But overall, Morgana mid just didn't seem strong to me. I mean, I don't know what your take on it is overall, but it never seemed to get off the ground.
I mean, I I akin Morgana mids as like similar to an Annie, where if you're against a really high trading, high skill extensive like mid matchup, you can pick it later in Fearless to kind of neutralize it because you can't really like you either match push for push against Morgana, or even if you trade against it with like a mage, she has black shield and can walk away. So she doesn't mind, the aggressive matchups like an Annie or a Syndra either in her own case. So I mean, I think Morgana has a place, but I definitely don't think it's like game one, like blindable, especially in someone with an extensive champion pool like Good Boy or even Rurika. So I do remember Rurika um, saying he's not a fan, and actually made him talked about it a little bit after the cast, where it's just not, it just doesn't give you much. So like you have to get proactiveness somewhere else, and she's just more of a supportive mid laner. Like almost in a sense, like if you play a reserve, it's like a Seraphine, where it's just there clearing waves and supporting the junglers.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, if you're saying it's similar to the Annie, by the way, why not just pick Annie? I don't understand the Annie hate in this league. Like, nobody wants to play her. I think Eureka's played her like once, and then maybe somebody else played her. It's just like, bro, where was the Annie the whole split? This champion was like super strong. You still played at Worlds. Like, what the hell, man? Like, play this champ, dude. It's not horrible, especially with like some of these junglers people want to pick. It's so good at just taking somebody out of the fight and making them disappear. No love. And I also think like if you don't have a super like heavy advantage into the enemy mid, Morgana can some or not Morgana, I'm sorry, Annie can sometimes like help that because she's I mean, to me she's one of the most simplest mid laners there are. It's kind of hard to mess her kid up. So you just chill. So I don't see why like in some cases people just don't slam the Annie in general. I just think it's a good pick. Um, but it's fine. It's fine. It's not that important. I just I don't know. Didn't really like the Morg overall this split. Um, Looking at other things in the game, I do think that bot lane was a lot of fun to watch. I think Eclipse and Don in a Geoprow Bori was kind of what we expected. A nice fight. Um, and early on, I think Instinct bot lane was getting the better of them initially, but then the 2v2 kind of went in favor of Geoprow and Bori a little later on. But as the game progressed, it just felt like Bori could never get the advantages you want to get for him, and Eclipse just got to sit back and do his job. Like you just let Good Boy take over. Eclipse do you front to back, take care of the cleanup crew afterwards, and I feel like I feel like they needed to play through him a little more. I guess is what I'm kind of saying. I think Bori needed to get really the proper setup for this game, and they never really got it for him. I don't know if you watched the game a bit, but that was kind of my takeaway.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It definitely felt like Coinflip could get an advantage bot lane, but Instinct's bot lane played this game and this series for the most part really well at like not letting Bori get out of control, and then coming to the 5v5s on a pretty even playing field.
Yeah, I would have just loved, I think, some focus down there. Um, I don't know what really was going on in particular. Another thing to note, I think Arctic had a really nice series, and this game one is kind of example of that. That he played extremely well in the Volibear. Um, I know he had a nice TP down to bot lane to clean up a couple kills on the bot lane, I believe it was. So he was around the map, kind of taking care of business. Matthias really never got off the ground. He got pretty far behind, and I can't imagine in a volleyball that's going to be very fun. I think if the Jax is even or ahead, it's not easy for the volley, but because the volley kind of got the advantage it did, it's just like how do you deal with him? I think at one point he was like 1v3ing up there, 1v4ing or something. He might have been dying, but he was doing tons of damage and tons of work. So, uh, Volley Bear saves lives.
Yeah, I just watched this bot lane fight here at like 13 and a half, where Arctic ended up kind of coming into this fight a little
Yeah,
late, getting himself a nice
that was
double
the
kill.
TP. Yeah, I can kind of scroll
Yeah,
back. I
yeah.
didn't show the full clip, but I'll just show the full clip. Yeah, that was a small little turning point too, because I actually thought that like Coinflip there, they had a nice little play and kind of got themselves a small advantage, and then Arctic came in and kind of ruined it. He's like, no, 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 no. So it's just like cannot be doing that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Can't let the bear come and ruin the show. But yeah, I mean Arctic played extremely well. I get first turret pretty early, so but
Yeah.
kind of continue to scroll through this game here. Was there anything that you remember from watching on the outside? You know, I was casting with War, but was there anything that kind of stuck out to you throughout the rest of this game one?
Mm, I mean, Good Boy was able to get like a little bit of pressure on the side lanes into Arresto. Even got himself a solo kill here around the 19 minutes. But then Coinflip did a good job counterattacking the bot side and getting Avo right when the dragon spawned. So it was a lot of like trading back and forth between these teams. Because then Good Boy's getting pressure top side. There's a lot of just pressure and counter pressure. But um,
Yeah, no,
I've seen.
I agree there actually on that point too, and I kind of remember that where like you see a lot of the back and forth throughout the game. The problem was it felt like the pressure Coinflip was getting wasn't going anywhere. That's kind of like when you watched it, whereas like that side lane pressure that they're getting is resulting in turret damage, or is resulting in taking turrets or whatever, and um, also just making the Talia bigger and the Jax just more unplayable, or the Volibear bigger and the Jax just more unplayable. Like the Jax just completely got cucked out of this game. I mean, he had such a hard time existing.
Yeah, but overall, like that trading back and forth, like you mentioned, Coinflip was like getting some micro returns back on it, but um, Instinct still ended up getting just that little extra and that little extra, and even turned it into an Otacon here, like right as it spawned around 20 minutes. Um,
Yeah, and I would argue
so
that was pretty much the game at that point. I thought there was some nice back and forth, um, and they even were able to initially look like they could catch out the bot lane. They got GeoBrow chunked pretty low, but then um, like they can't win that 2v2, right? Like GeoPro tanked it all, but it did not matter. Bori didn't have enough damage. They couldn't clean it up, and then everybody showed up for Instinct, and they just kind of ran him over. So it was pretty unfortunate, but that was probably the game at that point because they were already up about 2 or 3K. They win like this really weird fight. There's like two fights kind of going on towards the mid of the map and then the bottom of the map where they're trying to chase onto the bear. But that's something that Arctic did well too. I mean, we talked about him like 1v3, 1v4. Basically, he's 1v3 right there. He's just drawing in the pressure. He doesn't have to kill anybody. He doesn't have to do anything crazy. Just live. And because he was winning so hard, that's what it was able to do. Um, but after that, I mean, the game pretty much broke. And it like this series felt close at times, but I'm gonna be honest. Like as we talk more about these games, Instinct really, really took care of business. I think in the series, like they made a statement here, in my opinion, and I don't think game one was that particularly close. Once we got past probably about the 15-minute mark.
yeah, yeah. As I mentioned, like the Otacon was the big tipping point because Orin's so behind on levels here, and Otacon, when you get it and collect the feathers, there is a little comeback mechanic with the feathers here. So getting Orin, till level 12, start working on 13, where he can upgrade an item, and then 14 he starts upgrading other items for his teammate. Like I think that can start to help Coinflip claw back into this game, but they end up dropping the Rift Herald mid, getting that push, and just start increasing the gold lead. But as Arctic mentioned in the interview, these guys started, really going all in, VOD reviewing, scrimming, stuff that, they did in splits in the past. when they were getting sharp, and this is slowly looking like a very scary instinct, like the instinct we've remembered.
Yeah, they're trying to bring it back. So I'll go ahead and show the end of the game because the game ended pretty swiftly. It was a 25-minute game. It was kind of just one of those like, oh, you blink and the game is over. And it kind of looked like it was okay because they found a catch or two. But then the monkey started spinning and people started dying and good boy started to kill everybody. So
Yeah, yeah, he ended up posting the most damage
oh yeah,
in the game
it wasn't even
easily.
close on the damage. Yeah. I'm gonna flip here
Yep.
over here. We'll click here. We'll go to game two. It was what was it? CLT 43%. It's just nasty.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of insane
All
for a
right.
champion not known for her damage.
No, not at all. I mean, you have to do a lot of work there as the Tilia. But all right. So game two. And again, so the Volibear. I think Arctic plays well. I would say it's in his like top four champions probably, up there with his Orin, his Yorick, and uh um. God, I'm trying to remember. There's one other champion that's not coming to mind. He plays another split pushing champion. Can't think of it, but nonetheless,
But
it's in there that top three, top four, right? So then he gets his Yorick here, and I think he's played Yorick well every time I've seen him play it, regardless of win or lose. I think he plays it well. He knows how to pilot the champion extremely well, and so it feels like Instinct's kind of getting what they want in these first two drafts. I don't think there's much contest or anything being taken away um, from on the coin flip side that's going to make Instinct like scared to play the game, which is also very important. I think coin flip kind of just I don't know if they outdrafted themselves. They were tired. I know it was a very late series to start, but CoinFlip did not look themselves come this game day. And part of it was also the drafting. I've seen them draft extremely well, and Instinct kind of got what they wanted. I don't think Nar is very good into York at all. Was interested by that pick. He cannot kill the little monsters quick enough, little minions, the ghouls. I think the Pantheon and the J4 is fine. Like it's good for the 1v1s and skirmishing, like 2v2s and 3v3s. The problem is that one is just a far better team fighter, which pairs well with the Oriana Sivir comp. Like those three can fight pretty much just those three plus Emilio. They could basically 4v5 the comp darn near close. Um, the Swain felt a little strange in this game. It didn't feel like it fit, and I thought the good boy was able to just push Aristotle out of the lane freely for the most part. Um, I don't know. I didn't love this coin flip draft at all. I think this was my least favorite draft they had the entire series. Um, so I don't know. You got any specific takes on draft here as I flip over to the game?
um, I'm kind of with you, but hear me out,
I'm
okay?
listening. I'm listening.
I, I, when I went back and I started kind of just looking at this game a little bit before we got started, this is like a coin flip esque draft. Arresto is our resident Swain player. He is really, really proficient at that champion. You've got Geoprow on his patented Leona. Bori is on kind of a very skill expressive fightery type uh, AD. I thought you could do one of two things here. I know Matthias has some like wackier picks. I've seen him bust out and play the Smolder really, really proficient. I thought there was a world where this was a decent Smolder top angle, and I'll explain that why. Just because Instinct doesn't have lockdown, and if they play a split pusher that's, I mean, not Camille, I don't know if Arctic plays it or not. That's the only real thing you're scared of. Um, but even then, you've got Pantheon coming onto the side and Leona, so like you have a decent amount of peel in front for a Camille, but it also like in a vacuum prevents them from picking the York. But then, okay, if we just look at the draft standard, I agree. But I also thought there was a world where the Swain goes bot lane, Yunara goes top, and Gnar mid. Just because Yunara pushes back against the York, especially when their passive's up, she can just two auto the whole group of ghouls.
Mm.
Swain, okay, yeah, he's against double range in the bot lane, but he still can like very easily farm. And Oriana Gnar may have to like eat a little bit of pressure in that matchup, but you're much better off, I feel like, than letting this Gnar just absolutely play reserve and defensive and let this York just kind of get whatever he wants topside.
Yeah,
I know it's a little bit of cook from my side, but that's kind of when I looked at this, I was like, that AD could go top.
yeah, I get you. I mean, I could definitely see the angle. Um, Certainly so. I do think it's a coin flip draft, and I think in other circumstances and other setups, like other team comps, this might even work well. Um, but I just think there's too many picks here that just kind of opens up better counter picks. Excuse me. I just died literally mid sentence. Um, as I was saying, there are like picks from Instinct that we're like aware of, and I know CoinFlip is also aware of that you're just kind of like giving them on the counter side of things. So I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it was just one of the weaker drafts overall, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I can see the Smolder having success. I'd still worry for it. It's even though it can get out of a lot of these cages, it still has to contend with Oriana combo, right? So it was fine overall to have in the game, but I don't think it changes the complexity of this game because you're trying to go for late game scale, which is already what they're kind of doing with Yunara. But it's Yunara and Sivir, and they both are happy to scale, but there's bursts on the other side that really doesn't exist on coin flip side. So I don't know. It's a tough draft to pull off. I will say Brandino had a really good game though. I think Brandino was the shining light in
Yep.
this game. There was times that he almost saved it. He had some really nice pathing early, exceptional, able to burn the flash off the Ori. Um, Problem was Avalon was kind of matching the like um, kind of some of the plays in some circumstances where he might not be getting advantages for himself specifically, but he was for his other members on his team. And so even though the Pantheon was fed, he cannot 1v5 the game. It's going to be near impossible here. So somehow you need to get some gold into this Swain and into this Yanara in hopes that they can pop off. It just didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, I almost think I'm gonna go back to this.
Yes, please do. I'm having breathing issues over. I'm dying. So whatever you want to say, please say it.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I think if I'm coin flip and I'm seeing what the first three are, like I take Yunara first on the B3 side, and now just kind of seeing how Instinct wants to play this comp overall. I think something like Renata would have been okay here. The big the big thing outside of Brandina's just overall performance in this game was this kind of tower dive sequence here at around the 7:45 going on 8-minute mark, uh,
Yeah.
where both teams were reacting to this bot side here. So see the bot lane of Coinflip play it quite well with a little bit of disruption coming out. That was a really solid
Yeah,
shockwave there from
this
Good Boy.
this play that you're bringing up to literally could have just like changed the entirety of the game. If
Yep.
anybody just dies on the side of Instinct, they all live with like zero mana, zero HP is insane. It ended up being a one for nothing, which easily could have been a two for nothing, as Bori barely was able to flash there at the end. But like, man, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy, and I think
Yep.
If Pantheon didn't waste his first Skyfall, it was some weird play. I don't remember where Brandino ulted. He just ulted to something that didn't result in too much. If you didn't
I believe
waste
it's
it,
top lane.
yeah, and I actually don't think you should be ever focusing top lane after how top lane went. I kind of felt like that in game one too. Like you just ignore top lane. Tell Matthias you're on an island. Do your best, buddy. You'll get back in the game. We'll get advantage of other places. Like that's your job. Um, and I remember saying it on stream. It's all about where this first Skyfall goes. This first Pantheon ult is huge, very impactful for the game, and he uses up there. If he has his ulti, number one, they might not even attempt the dive. But number two, if they do, oh man, they're dead. They're definitely dead. Like people are not living there. There's no way. Because even if he just walks down like he does there, he can chase on the back end then if he wants, or he can ult in right away. But he has two options of how he wants to play it, right? So it was such a tragedy, man. And I do think it kind of flipped the mental edge because after that you just kind of see them trying to make plays which are almost impossible to make on this Yorick, and nothing going good for the Swain. Oriana just constantly poking him out. And now your side lanes are useless, so it's just up to Bori again to try to carry the game, and it's so hard, you know. If maybe some of the gold that's going into Pantheon goes into the Yanara, maybe the game is different. But that's just kind of how I saw game two.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So it's a hard draft to play if you're not getting the micro advantages early, just because you're going to find difficulties, in the late game, in team fights. Like you're against Jarvan Oriana, it's hard to attack the split because Nar Pantheon is pretty easy to itemize against if you're the York, and overall it's hard to get onto the Sivir with Emilio as well. Um, so yeah, I know Brandon. Yeah, like you said, Brandino tried his best to keep this game going, and they still were very proactive on the objectives here, sneaking that second dragon.
Yeah, I mean they definitely tried. They weren't laying down. I always respect Coinflip. I mean they're a great team. Those guys are all fantastic players. Um, that was far from the issue. It wasn't their competitive spirit that they had it, but it's just there's only so much you can do. Um, I really don't know what happened. I would love to actually have a conversation with the guys at one point. I mean, they were in good spirits. I did talk to them, and they were all playing an ARAM afterwards. It was 5v5 ARAM between the two teams. So I sat in there with them and talked for a bit. They were all in good spirits on the side of Coinflip. I don't think they were like super upset with the
Oh yeah,
overall outcome. But I know that they could have given a better showing. I know they could have taken a game and maybe even pushed it to 5. Like they are a good enough team to do so. I really don't know what happened. It's going to be an interesting tale of if we ever hear and find out because they didn't look like themselves. Now there was some small glimmers of hope here and there. I know like 24 minutes catching the Milio out was big, and I kind of talked about it with War. Like if they could just catch this Milio a couple times, like the game can change. If you can catch him, you can win fights. Like he makes it impossible to kill anybody, pretty much. Um, but it just didn't happen enough. Don positioned pretty well, so they weren't able to punish. And it was another relatively swift game, not as quick as game one. Like it wasn't one of those like they just ended and immediately, but it and technically it did draw into the 30 minutes. Um, and that was in part because like those little moments, and I kind of forgot, but there was like those little moments of coming back. Um, was what was keeping the game alive, and the gold lead started to close and close and close. That's the one thing I forgot about this game too. But it still just never seemed to matter because even when the gold lead closed, CoinFlip kept making these small errors after they got like an advantage. And we were able to push the game past 30 minutes, but I think it was still too hard to like really overcome. Does it make sense? It's those situations where like yeah we can bring it back to even, but like you have how many fights does it take to bring it back to even? Eventually your tank just runs out.
well, I think one thing I've noticed about coin flip, and the word panic is not the right word because they definitely don't panic. Playing with those guys as well, but it feels like they take some of the micro advantages, but then they see like another opportunity quickly after, instead of like resetting using the gold that they got, or maybe just like slowing it down at certain points, especially if they expended like some ults or something like that, to just take the small little W's and just keep grinding around in certain games.
Yeah, agreed. But I do want to shout out. I'm glad I clicked through again because I thought this game ended at like 27, 28 minutes, but they did push it back. I think after the Milio play they made around the 24, 20 minute, 23-minute mark, they were definitely able to make a couple more plays, draw themselves back in. I think they even got a Baron. If I can remember correctly. Let me switch to C because there was a Baron taken. Yeah, they were able to win a fight. They got a shutdown. I think it was the play where Avalon got a little hype and he went a little early when he shouldn't have, and he got blown up, and then the fight kind of fell apart there. There was also another play where there was like a really nice TP from like Matthias or something. It might have been the same play. It might have been his Baron play. That was the reason that they really truly got back into the game, because once they got that Baron, once they got that gold, once they got some shutdowns, the game did flip on its head. And so when you talk about them fighting back, like this is kind of what I'm referring to. They fought back. They didn't just like lay down and die. They could have easily lost this one at 24, 25 minutes, but they still gave it their all. But it just felt like, again, as we kind of finish up talking about this game, no matter how hard you put into it, you need to do it a lot more times than just three or four. Because when you're down 10k, 11k gold, it's kind of got to happen two or three times. Then you still have to win one more fight afterwards to get his true gold lead and win the game. So, um, but yeah, it wasn't. This wasn't the one where Avalon. There definitely was one where Avalon went a little early, but the Baron fight at like 26 minutes, that was just a really nice TP pick. That's what that was.
Yeah, well, like continuing off that fight, you mean when he jumped into the 1v5?
Yeah, I guess that was
Air
him kind of
posture.
going early. Like they could have
Yeah.
waited for them to hit Baron.
It didn't look like they were all on the same page because Arctic was heading mid, and then he was posturing with Eclipse there.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is they didn't take anybody down for coin flip, so that's 5 men with Baron to equally try and push out these lanes.
Yeah. Agreed. Um,
Didn't they even get a pick on? Did they get a pick on Good Boy? Yeah,
yeah, they
Good
did.
Boy just shortly after that. But then
They
they
did.
catch Boring mid too.
Yeah, but then there's the play at 28 minutes where they're just trying to kill Eclipse, and then they're not able to kill Eclipse, and there's some trading back and forth, and it's looking like, okay, maybe we're gonna like still be good on this point. Like they kind of didn't utilize the Baron a lot, but they're able to kind of get the advantage overall on the map, and it's like, okay, this is good. Just do this and this and this. Instead, somehow they end up doing the complete opposite of what you're thinking, right? And they get caught again. So the overall totality of the play, it's like not that great, because to me you should be looking for turrets and not overcommitting for a kill on a Sivir, which I guess he kind of had to do at that point. But I also think if you just play it a little slower, it's better, because the Drake's important. You need soul, but you also need gold, and you need to open up the map. You need kind of both things. Um, and yeah, you get gold and you get Drake, but the last thing you're missing is opening up the map. You had no turrets still. You need to get these turrets. You need to make it so that Instinct is so terrified to walk around the map, because you have a Pantheon who can just stick to a target immediately, and then a Leona to follow up, or vice versa. Like that's what it needs to be. And because you're not able to do that with the Baron, and all you do is get the Drake, yeah, you kind of get an advantage, which was their first gold lead of the game. But then I forgot what they do something else right afterwards. Just another weird play, and it kind of messed things up. So I'm
Yeah, I'm
watching this clip at 30 minutes.
I'm around that same time frame as well, where they just got kited out here after they traded a few guys back and forth. That's kind of what I was kind of thinking and mentioning, where like they respond to the first punch well here at 30 minutes, where Arctic comes from behind. Um, Jarvan falls. and they do end up taking out Bori, but Arctic falls. But then you still have 3 men here with, I believe, still Baron buff. I think it's still up at that time, or if not, it just fell off. But you're so low health. Why posture forward against a 3-item Oriana with CDR boots and Eclipse, who just hit 3 items and upgraded boots as well?
Yeah.
You just take the small little micro win there, and you're good, because after the sequence, like when Arctic falls, if you just take a snapshot here, they have the gold lead by 500. Like they're
Yeah.
still easily in this game. But then Matthias hops forward, Brandino goes forward, gets spell shielded on the stun, and then it just becomes a kite game from there.
Yeah, and you know the two carries are gonna win that every time at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were the plays, man, and it was so unfortunate because I do think they had a chance. And in the end of the game, they try to make a pick onto Good Boy, and Good Boy just completely turns it on its head so quickly. Uh, you know, and I don't even know if they needed to look for this necessarily. I don't think it's a horrible look, but maybe don't exhaust the flash. You know, just take the Ori flash and hold your flash for when everyone's together. Um, but it ended up kind of costing it. And I'm gonna be straight up here. I don't know what what Bori was doing at the end either. What was going on there? He was truly flipping the game. That was probably the most insane Bori play I've ever seen. Where like if it works, we're obviously gonna praise the hell out of him. But it just I don't know if it ever does work. I'm gonna be honest. So
Mm. I mean, I don't know. I can see where, he maybe feels like he can, one, 2 or 3 shot Eclipse there, but with Brandino down, you feel like you can take the 80 carry and do something with that. I mean, I get it, but I see the vision, but I'm kind of with you.
yeah, the idea is not really the problem. It's just I don't think that idea works there particularly. So, but I mean, this game wasn't anyone in particular's fault of why Coinflip lost. This is just the Coinflip special, right? So they did their best. I commend them for this comeback though, because I truly forgot about this comeback. It's been too long. It's been a week, and this game was actually crazy. So let's give credit where credit is due. But let's go ahead and jump into game 3 and the last game of this series. I think this is this is the game where uh, it was all about Avalon Good Boy and Eclipse Don Don. Like these guys just absolutely popped off. This was the one where Arctic truly got the backpack. If there was a game he backpacked, it was this one. Um, and that's saying a lot because I think Arctic played so well this series. Like he put on a show those first 2 games. And Cled was the other champion he played as well. That's what it was. I couldn't remember. There was like 4 champions. He like plays these split pushy type champions. Cled, yeah, he plays Cled well. But like here, he just never got an extreme advantage. Um, that was like that mattered. It doesn't help that he's into a Malphite of all things. But the crazy one here, and which I thought it was exciting to see, was the Riven Jungle. Another one that got buffed. Um, in the changes. I don't know if I love it though, but I like the spice. This was Brandino saying, hey, "Let's go out, guys. Let's go out on our own terms. I'm gonna slam Riven. What do you guys want to do?" Everyone else is like, "Well, I'm gonna play my spider." That's what Geopro said. And then Matthias is like, "Well, I like Malphite." Like I can see the conversation. And then Erisar was like, "Well, there's an Ari and there's an Alistar. I'm playing Silas." I don't know how Bori ended up on Seraphine though. That's the one I'm not sure about. I just I
Yeah.
cannot hear Bori. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't hear Bori going Seraphine, please. So
I mean, I don't dislike the Seraphine here. Like it's
no, it's not bad. I for once I don't think it's bad as an 80 carry pick. There's enough
I'm not a
damage on coin flip for sure.
yeah. I'm don't really think the Seraphine Elise lane is the most effective here because now there's absolutely nobody that can tank the Clet engage or the Nocturne engage outside of Malphite. Like I think you need two spots to go with it. Um, Maybe they could have taken the Alistar. I haven't really. Well, they took the Elise super early, and then showed the Riven pick. Oh, Riven kind of baited out the Kled pick. Just because Kled does like the brawl with Riven, though I still think Riven wins that early. I don't know. It's not a matchup I know the most about,
Well,
but
they buff a lot of Brandino champions, so he's gonna be pulling
oh
people
yeah,
out. Top lane jungle champs got buffed basically. Is really what the patch was. So um,
yeah.
I'm not really surprised, and I'm sure he was pulling out Cho'Gath next game if if they made it, or something like that. He was gonna have some fun because it seemed like he was just ready for a good time, and at the end of the day, you can never judge anybody for wanting to have a good time. Um, Certainly so. It's always at the end of the day for fun. Uh, but with that said, what do you think about this overall game three? Like, what do you think was kind of the downfall as far as the game itself for Coinflip?
They just didn't get a lead early. Like this comp snowballs so hard, and there's. I mean, if Bori's in a good spot, he can wave clear a little bit, but if the rest of his team's behind, he's kind of a multiplier on the Seraphine here. Seraphine's really an excellent enchanter that takes leads and just makes them feel infinitely like bigger leads just because of her amount of like AoE shields and heals, and then the fact that she can just wave clear. So the safer she feels like she can wave clear, it just feels way harder to play against. So yeah, it's I think comp for comp, coin flips definitely trying to coin flip this early game a little bit, and there's a lot of responses here for Instinct. I'm already seeing that the Avo got a nice little quick 2-0 start here, and they ended up picking up this Earth Drake, which is actually a pretty big Drake, all things considering, just because of the denial away from coin flip. Like an early Earth Drake can help combat the first level 6, level 7 ults coming out of Nocturne Kled, and also enhances Malphite as well.
Yeah, no,
So
I,
yeah.
I yeah, I mean, the Earthdrake's good. I think what you're saying is 100% true about them not getting an advantage early game that mattered. But it's crazy because what was I talking about the whole entire split about coin flip? Come on, CLT, I know you know.
Uh,
I know you know.
we've said we've said quite a few things about coin flip.
What was my thing that they needed to improve?
Yeah, you got me, bro.
Okay. Well, anyways, go to that 9 minute clip. It's like 850 by the way. That Malphite play was insane by Matthias. Their early game. Their biggest problem the entire split was early game, and in these 3 games, I don't think they won an early game. Game 2 they definitely didn't. I'm pretty sure they didn't win game 1, and game 3 they didn't. Like it was the biggest problem. They never assessed it. They never solved it. I don't know if that was just them coin flipping too much, or if them like not drafting well enough in the early game. But like the early game picks are in this game. I mean, you have at least support. Like at least has great base damage early. Silas's early game is not too bad. I think Riven's decent early game. Certainly, I think I'd take her over the Nocturne. She can kite out his fear, and once the fear is kited out, she should win. I mean, I I don't know, but yeah, you don't remember me talking about the early game a bunch?
I do. Um, and you kind of hit on what I would think about when he talks about coin flips early game is a lot of the champ pool. Um, and it's not like they don't play a wide variety of champs. I mean, obviously we know we've talked to and we've seen and even casted, how tricky their drafts can be, but it feels like sometimes they just they don't maximize the effectiveness of their draft to where like, now we see them pick, some impactful, like faster paced champs, but they're both melee in the Riven and the Silas, and neither one, for instance, in a 2v2, there's not much CC to chain off of them, especially into something as elusive as an Ari. So, um, that just being like one example. We talked about the Swain last game, um, being more of kind of a champion that lets the game come to him, which Arresto is very, very proficient at those type of champions. He plays the Anivia as well, but then picking it with the Pantheon, it's like you really don't. You, there's not much mid jungle duo synergy when it comes to the champions picked.
Yeah.
For instance, so in this case, you have a proactive mid jungle duo, but then you have two really good responsive champions, especially from off screen in the Cled and the Nocturne, and then Malphite just has TP. He has to walk to everything else.
Yeah.
So I think their drafts kind of do get figured out a little bit, especially in the time of need when they don't feel like they can be as creative as they can. Um, but uh, teams, especially these top tier teams, Instinct, and that's not to say Coinflip's not. They're definitely top tier in this league, but Instinct and Femboys, I think, have a lot more a wider team comp accessibility to be able to play against Coinflip.
Yeah. I'll say this much: Coinflip has always been and always will be certainly a fantastic team. That is without
Oh yeah.
question, and they're going to always be, until further notice, a top tier team. Bori's first time losing in the playoffs on AD he's a top tier player. There's nobody on this team I don't
Oh,
respect.
for sure.
Um, Another great finish, but I just know for certain, and nothing can change my mind. I think we could have seen a better. Um, we could have seen a better version of them for this series specifically. That's I think for me what disappoints. On the other side of things, Instinct, man, they just showed up. They played great, and we know what they're capable of. And there's like not really a player that I go back at in this series and say, man, they didn't play to their standard. They did. Um, so I'm really excited to see this just grand finals and
Hmm.
what it's going to lead to. But all that being said, this game was still tight. I mean, we're 16, 17 minutes. They were able to kind of come back into the game. It was 19-19. I even recall like a crazy flash engage from Brandino onto Good Boy in like the top bush by Baron that almost like might have flipped the game if they were able to kill Good Boy, because I don't remember if they killed him or not. I don't remember exactly when it happened. It might have been right before Baron. I'm kind of scrolling through to kind of see if I can see when the clip happens. I'm for certain there is a play. Okay, so is it this one?
You have to give me a timestamp. I don't.
I'm not sure. You know what? I think it's around 24 minutes. I think it's around 24 minutes. I'm kind of watching. I think they burn the Unbreakable Will from Don Don, and then Good Boy doesn't know he's sitting on a ward, and Brandino sees him. And he's like, "I'm going on this," and they jump on him. And I don't know if they one shot him, but they're able to scare him off. I do think they end up killing him, but unfortunately, it takes so much to kill him, where they're not able to do enough afterwards. There's not enough DPS, and Aristotle just wasn't in the fight. I don't know why he didn't TP in or what was going on there on the comms call. And I really think if Aristotle was there, like they completely destroy the fight. But that play was like, oh, this is it, this is it, this is their moment. You know, they're gonna win this game. This is the comeback. Yeah, Barron wasn't up yet, but like they get turrets, they get gold, they get something, right? And and then just it just doesn't happen. But it was a really nice engage from Brandino. Um, so I don't know if maybe Matthias just needs to Malphite alt sooner. If that's maybe what they need to do, I'm not entirely sure. But they don't end up getting to play. Not too long after that, there's a bad fight at the Baron timer, specifically 25 and a half minutes, which results in them getting Baron. This is a really nice setup. The paranoia comes down. Eclipse sends the arrow downtown. Board can't see it. No opportunity to flash it. They kill the bot lane. Brandino falls right after trying to kill Eclipse, and he almost does. I think there was a really nice Kled pullback though that stopped the Q3 from Brandino from hitting. That probably would have killed Eclipse, and then I think this was pretty much the series at that point. I want to say, yeah, that was pretty much it. We do get back in because we had some really weird issues that were going on.
Yeah.
So, but any more stuff to say about this series, or do you want to talk predictions real fast?
No, no. Overall, Coinflip had another fantastic split here, and like you mentioned, they're absolutely like a class of active people. Um, really love those guys. And they're such a treat to talk to. So, um, good on them for having a really good solid split yet again, making it deep into the playoffs, and Instinct, they're starting to look like the monsters again.
Yeah, and they're starting to look like the monsters. And what do we think about this rematch here in the grand final, which there's no reset, so this is it. The winner of this series is going to be your 2025 Fall Sweat League champions. So what are we feeling? I mean, this is an exciting, very very exciting matchup. Um, Let me just start with this. Some fun storyline for you guys. I feel like I always like to pull those out, make it kind of fun, right? So for Instinct, um, we know their roster, right? We got Arctic in the top lane, Avo in the jungle, Good Boy in the mid, Eclipse in the AD carry, and Don Don in the jungle support. I mean, so we know their roster. We're very familiar. What's the storyline for Instinct? Well, this is the redemption arc, right? They lost to Femboys last split when they were originally, I think, just Femboys, or I forget. Was that just their name? Was it just Femboys?
Yes.
Yeah, so they lost to them. Obviously, this is the Femboy Jellyfish roster, so it's combined two orgs between these old sad Jellyfish slash Happy Jellyfish and Femboys now combined. But yeah, they lost to a couple of those players. It was Mac and specifically Noah that were on the team. Who are currently Angel Boy, well, and I guess Noah, but Noah was Kyle Rittenhouse last split.
Oh.
So yeah, that they've lost to two of those members already. So this is like their redemption arc. This is that they also lost to Femboys during the playoffs. This split, right? So this is their moment, their time. Can Gunboy finally cash it in? This guy who's always talked about as an MVP candidate, but yet he never wins the MVP, right? I don't think he's ever won it. So like that's pretty big. This guy's always been hailed as a top dog. Well, now it's just time to prove it because I think a Finals MVP could be on the horizon with how he's been playing. Um, you go to the other side of things. I think Femboys gets the more interesting storyline. It's Eureka. Can he finally grab it? I mean, he's been playing with us for almost ever. It feels like now, at least in the modern era, the last 2.5 years. He's been in multiple splits, 4 or 5 splits now. He's never been able to do it. He's always come so close, but he finally makes it to the finals. This is an opportunity. You got Angel Boy back to back titles for him. He'd be the second AD carry to do that ever, back to back. The first one to do it was Bori. Can he have that kind of dominance? 2025 is Angel Boy, aka Max year, right? And he even conquered and beat Bori in the head to head. Can Noah be the first ever back-to-back winner as a sub, by the way? He came in and subbed in the playoffs twice. He would literally win it back-to-back as a sub. That's crazy. And then, of course, Terrace and Higgins, who Terrace has been around now a couple splits. This would be a great opportunity for him. And Higgins coming in first time here on support. He's kind of our hook master, as we call him. But, I mean, he's a little more versatile than that. I think it's a great opportunity for him to kind of showcase to the world like this is what I got. So yeah, I mean these are fun. This is fun stuff, man. But yeah, what's your take, man? Who do you think's gonna win this?
Oh man, how am I gonna follow that? Um, boy, who's gonna win this? Um, first of all, I, this goes 5 games. I don't know how it doesn't. Um, I think there is there is chances that Femboy, especially player for player, can create advantages. You mentioned Mac in the bot lane. I think him and Bori were easily the two best bot laners in the league. Um, I think Rurika and Good Boy were easily number one, number two mids in the league, and they've consistently been two of the top mids in the whole server since they've joined. Uh, it's it's a complete toss up for me. The only I think Femboy Jellyfish being able to play a lot of different style of comps could create some mismatches in the draft against Instinct, but Instinct going back to the drawing board, VOD reviewing, kind of unlocking the uh, the potential they've been showing, the last couple splits here. It makes them really really scary, and I think God, this goes to 5. It there's just no way it doesn't go to 5. So, do I gotta make my prediction now?
Yeah, said it.
Oh. I think it's 3-2 Instinct, and
Oh.
I I think they can they can muster up enough picks and enough responses that they won't like outdraft themselves in the sense of the skill expressive and champion execution, to where I think sometimes Femboy Jellyfish and I'm gonna say this with nothing but love, but Rurika can get a little bit too experimental. Yes, I'm gonna bring up Ignite Xerath again, and I feel like there might be maybe a potential draft where they can do it. I also think bringing up the two mid laners, Rurika in this playoffs has played a lot of mages, and while he again is a fantastic mid, he's fantastic because he is impossible to scout and prep against. He has so many unique, weird, wacky picks, and even picks you still have to ban, like his Silas as well, that I think if he tries to go mage for mage against Good Boy, that could be an area where Instinct can create a little bit of advantage and then use that in the mid jungle. But if he's got some spice up his sleeve that he's ready for, and is Zaheen enabled for this?
Yes, he is.
Okay, they didn't handshake no Zaheen. Okay. Well,
Now
then
they might have handshake against. I don't remember, but I think they're playing it. But it is available nonetheless because the rules state he's allowed after a
okay.
week.
Okay. Um, yeah, I go 3-2 Instinct, and it's a toss up in my opinion. So.
Nice. Well, before I give my prediction, let me go ahead and read what Nexus said
Oh,
in the
he's here
middle.
now.
Oh my God, CLT, you ruined my joke.
I did not know that's the direction you were going with that.
Okay,
All right.
we're gonna restart. We're restarting. So, anyways, let me read Nexus's prediction here. It's in the middle. So you check
All
real
right,
quick.
time to
I'm
mute.
checking that. Oh wait. Oh crap. Nexus, he's right here. Oh my goodness. Well, let me introduce him. Everybody, our friend Nexus here to give his prediction of the Femboy Jellyfish versus Instinct series. What's up, man?
Ooh, clap, clap.
What a shocker, man. I mean, surprised me. Like, wow, what am I doing here?
Yeah, he just showed up, dude. He appeared.
The other goat.
Nah, happy to join. I think the plan is hopefully going to join the two goats on the cast tomorrow. You got, I don't know what your guys' pro comp would be. The Tony Romo, Jim Nance of Midwest League are going to be on the broadcast mic tomorrow, and I think I'll try to jump in. So only fair to give my prediction as well, so I can maybe eat my words tomorrow. But what I got going, and if you look in the Midwest Weekly chat, I did actually flip flop over the last 5 minutes because it is that tight. I heard CLT's super long pause, but I am going to send without building it up too much. I'm giving it to Femboys 3-1.
Okay.
Ooh.
Is there any particular reason you want to tell all the viewers?
Of course, yeah. I liked CLT's kind of analysis on it. I'll give my own spiel in a very long-winded, maybe rant. So feel free to jump in whenever. I do think Femboys are the favorites. I think it's fair to say that they beat Instinct. Was it 3 weeks ago now
Something like
in
that.
their first matchup? And yes, it was a 5 game series. I think maybe the asterisk there is Instinct was coming off of a whole month of not playing just due to a bunch of buys and dropouts and weird circumstances. So there's that kind of context leading up to it as well. But you got to go with most recent history. Femboys did beat them. And I think bot lane to me is going to be a big story of the game. You talked about how CLT Rarika can be a little flippy. That's how I see Higgins personally. I think this guy has been getting better and better. I wasn't too hot on him early on, uh, but I think he's definitely improved. And I think alongside Mac, who I would call the best ADC in the league, I've been hot on this guy for a while now. I had him. I don't think you can check the receipts, but last split I had him first team all 80 carry over Eclipse when they were in the same group, and somehow my boy Tango Fish kind of snuck in there over him. But I think he's an ADC that makes his supports better. I think, and no shade here, but with Ashes, his support last split, I think he really elevated that support's level of play, and it was maybe exposed a little bit in the rec league just how much Mac was doing for him. And Angel Boy, kind of similar vein with Higgins, lets Higgins play a lot more kind of risky, play those hook champs, start to make plays. I think they pair up really well together. So when Higgins is on, they look phenomenal. If Higgins can be shut down, then it may be a bit of a tougher look for the bot lane. That's just nature of how Higgins plays. It's going to be a little more flippy. So that's maybe my area of concern for Femboys. But I think it's still going to work in their favor. What I've seen out of the bot lane of Instinct has not been super, super reassuring in these longer series. I'm not sure too much about Eclipse's champ pool, but beyond things like the Corki uh, and I think he's got an MF as well. It it plays a lot more supportive, and I don't love that look for them. I think he leans towards champs like the Ashe, the Seraphine, the Senna in as series go on, and I want to see him scrap it out because I do think you have the better support matchup there, and if you can play this hands matchup, play to win through bot lane a little more, then it looks good for them. I just don't know if they have that in them champ pool wise. Rest of the roles, I think are going to be pretty even. Mid lane, I'd call it a draw, maybe slightly good boy favored in a full 5 game series, giving him 3 games over 2. Top lane, similar vein, but edge going to Noah. And then jungle, I think they'll just be scrapping it out alongside the rest of the team. I expect it to be a very topside focused match, but I do almost want to see that flipped a little bit for Instinct and try to play through Eclipse some more because I do feel like that is Femboy's strong point. They have this very reliable ADC in Angel Boy, and I think you need to attack that if you're going to pull off what I would call an upset here tomorrow night.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's both fair assessments on both sides. So we got 3-2 for CLT taking Instinct, and we got 3-1 um, over here taking Femboys for Nexus. I think for me, I kind of had a bit of a thought about this for the last week. It's kind of been on my mind. Part of it was like, man, I hope we get it played sooner than later. Of course, it's later. It's not anyone's fault. I mean, Thanksgiving kind of got in the way, understandable. But I was hoping, I was praying. So while I've been mulding over this for the last week, like, who's going to take this? I think for me, at the end of the day, like, what it comes down to is, what is the history? Well, Femboys has kind of had the upper hand most of the time these two teams have played. Like, I know there's a post that Rivika posted in the chat, Sweat League chat, and if you actually look back, Femboys as an org overall has beaten Instinct most of the time. So that history matters. Now, there is this counter argument. It's not all the original Femboys, again, right? But when I look at that and I look at Instinct's history and going a full 5 games, it doesn't look that hot for them. So I would be really hard to say that Instinct can overcome Femboys now, because it's the grand finals and this is the the end all be all. But with that being said, I feel like the ramping up revenge arc might just be in play. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with 3-2 Femboy Jellyfish. Y'all thought I was gonna pick Instinct. I know y'all thought that's what I was going with. No, I'm gonna take Femboys. I think Rurika finally completes it. I think he finally brings it full circle. I think he's had a redemption arc as a player and a person over the last couple splits. And it's just like, sometimes this is what history comes down to is those small little moments, and I think he's gonna have his moment. And I think, though, Noah can be a little flippy, the one thing is he wins. He just wins, and then, like you said, I mean, back he's easily one of the best AD carries. Maybe he is now the current best AD carry of the league, and it's kind of hard to say he's not if he wins it back to back at this point. He's kind of taken that crown, earned that respect. So it's going to be a fun one for sure. I do not think it's going to be anybody laid down and die, and I expect a 5-game finals for the first time in like 3 splits or something. No, wait, we had one last split. I forgot, but it kind of feels like we didn't have one like that last split. But yeah, we'll have another one for sure, and it'll be a fun one. So 3-2 Femboy Jellyfish takes the cake. And we'll call it a 51-49 because it's a close series for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, with that said, do you either of your boys have any other closing statements before we close up shop?
No.
Excited for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm with him there. I definitely think I will be available to cast it. Hairwick, are you available?
Yeah, I'm gonna make myself available for as much of the time as I can. I got work Tuesday, but we'll see how it goes. I know Nexus plans to hop in. It might be me for a bit, and then Nexus takes over for the rest of it with you. We'll see how it kind of pans out. But yeah, guys, this is it. So we're grand finals tomorrow. Hopefully, All Stars coming up the following weekend, or not the following, but like I guess this weekend coming up. After that, expect us to do at some point a Q&A, and then yeah, we should get a little quiet for a bit until next split, which I'm thinking probably late January or February. So kind of that's what's kind of on the calling cards, but we'll have all the posts out once we kind of got it for sure on that. Lastly, maybe Nexus next year, maybe he'll become a guy on the show for good, like is he officially coming on? Like, we gotta get this guy in here or what?
We'll see what I can do. I know I led a lot of the rec league shows alongside CLT. Hopefully availability can permit a few more showings, because it's always fun chatting about the league with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's on the horizon. I think we are trying to expand the team a bit, and I know I don't really plan to do rec league. I think like we're gonna do a rec league, but I think I'm gonna be taking that time away. So we'll be getting somebody else in there for rec league. If maybe that'll be you again. Hopefully CLT isn't doing 3 splits in a row, so maybe he'll take a break somewhere. Hopefully it's not breaking up the band, and we can just get Nexus and somebody else together. Maybe that's in the calling cards. You never know.
Anyone out there?
Yeah, anybody out there? Somebody on this man's time zone would not be bad. I'm
good call there.
Yeah. So we'll see how that all breaks down, but I'm just putting it out there, guys. Hopefully you'll hear more.
Yeah, to be determined. do plan on running a few weekend events in the server to have a little bit of fun. I had a lot of great feedback from the arena event and the TFT event I ran earlier this year, so we'll that should be coming around the corner.
Oh, yeah, and another thing is, I put a joke in there. I made like a whole for all you guys to know. We've been trying to improve things with the mod team too. So I made like this kind of a breakdown of the next year's plans, and kind of like a calendar almost. And I kind of put a joke in there, but I actually meant the joke. I wanted them to read it and be like, "What is this?" You know. But I put Jacob's B-Day stream, you know, birthday stream.
Hmm.
And if you're wondering, that's my name. My name is Jacob. If you didn't know, now you know. I don't really care. But yeah, so my birthday's in 20 days, so I was thinking about having a fun birthday stream. I don't know what I was gonna do, but if you guys want to hang out and y'all are down to do that, let me know. So that'd be fun.
Yeah, maybe we get some flex going and people can just heckle us in the chat, or
Yeah.
you can show Brandina how to play that orange jungle.
Yeah, maybe. We could do anything. We could play Among Us. We could Nexus, and you can
Ooh,
play Ping the Tail on the Orn or something. I don't know. Whatever.
okay. Mundo dodgeball.
Yeah, Mundo Dodgeball. But yeah, thanks again, guys, for coming on. I mean, obviously CLT, I expect you to come on, but Nexus, thank you for coming on. I'm just kidding, CLT. I'm thankful for you. You know,
Caster of the year.
yes,
Don't be
sir.
disrespecting him.
Nah, thank you both. Other than that, I got nothing else to say. So we will see the rest of you guys tomorrow night, and then for one more show, and that'll be it. So we out, man. Have a wonderful day.
Deuces.